Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here with the Overwatch Open final series of the night to decide what new team will be going to Atlanta. Will it be Team Liquid, who defeated Clutch earlier in the night, or will Clutch avenge their earlier loss, go forward and secure that ticket themselves? We're going to find out right here on Hollywood.
Yep, keep in mind, this is a best of 3. Actually, it seems there might have been some kind of issue with the players getting started in Hollywood. We're actually going to go back to the lobby just for a moment, so we'll continue talking about the matchup. Also, just to describe for you guys, this is a single best of 3 that will send one of these teams to Atlanta, like you said, at the end of September, and that is the $300,000 portion of the event. All these qualifiers, all these playoffs have just been leading up to this part. Right now, they are top 16 North America, but they're really trying to make it into that top 8. I think this tournament is actually doing a really good job at showing us across the board where these teams, these middle teams, are actually stacking up with each other.
Certainly, and I will say this going in, there's definitely a lot more pressure on Team Liquid. The expectation is that they would get out of this group and they would make it to the Atlanta stage. And given how closely Clutch played them earlier in the day, you got to think that even for themselves who believe that narrative, they're not feeling super great. They still think that they're favored, and they probably are favored, but the potential for Clutch to come in here and upset them is certainly real based on what we saw earlier today. So if you are a Team Liquid fan, you have to be on the edge of your seat for this, because the possibility for them to lose this is very much real.
Yeah, and also worth pointing out that Group A, we had, I believe it was Selfless and Splice battling for the chance essentially in their first match to then face Envious. And this group played out very similarly, right? Team Liquid and Colorado Clutch really just battling for the chance to lose to Fnatic, as Fnatic is totally on fire, crushing Liquid in that winner's match. But they knew they were going to face each other twice, almost essentially, with Mono being the last team in the group that just does not have nearly the same experience as these two teams. So I think they were looking forward to this rematch, maybe even before the group began.
Yep, and take a look here at the Liquid defense as it comes out here. We will be seeing ID on the Junkrat once more, so we'll see if he can have a good performance here in Hollywood, like he did earlier in the day on Temple of Anubis. ID's Junkrat definitely enjoy to watch. And really, I feel like just going forward, by the way, if the meta shifts more, the more projectile DPS, I think it's going to work out real well for Liquid with how ID plays these characters.
Yeah, ID's Junkrat really showing off today, and Farah, Days of Yore, was one of his favorite characters. Louis actually on the McCree this time around. Calvin sticking to Hanzo to start us off, so some long-range damage going to be protected here by this Reinhardt shield as we engage, but the speed boost moves in. Flashbang over the shield actually allows some quick damage onto the enemy Reinhardt. He's forced back into the rear of the point. ID, though, and Dehang getting the first couple of kills. Looking good for Liquid on the defense so far, but this looks to be a long, bloody battle.
The problem is Louis is completely unchecked in the back. He's full HP, has gotten 2 kills, looking for more. You must deal with the McCree. You cannot let him just poke with impunity. And it does look like Zarya's starting to get on him. Louis now off on an island, has opposing McCree pressure on him as AZK takes him out. They do deal with Louis, but they lost enough people that Clutch should be able to reinforce and apply a lot of pressure to Liquid. Liquid can still fight this back, but it is going to be very close.
I'm a touch confused why Louis chose to go that direction. He should have joined his team, especially with that Reinhardt still standing. I think maybe a bit of a misjudgment there. Maybe he thought he had more freedom to move around. But yeah, AZK just came out, finished him off, and that's going to stop Clutch kind of cold in their tracks. Hots for shots being killed on the Lucio there will stagger them even further. So 1 minute, 20 seconds already being burned off the clock. Good stuff for that long fight, and now the ults are starting to come up. ID with the Junkrat Tire, AZK with Deadeye available, and Louis potentially with a counter Deadeye.
Well, the Junkrat Tire is on the way on. This Tire could stop this push right here, right now. That Tire looking to go in and around. ID being a little patient, moving forward. Will it hit its mark? It will not. The Tire is down. It did zone Clutch, though, into the corner. Here comes AZK looking to capitalize on that. Skulls are out, but the arrow is out right to his head. Calvin stops the Deadeye. Here comes WGB, wins the Reinhardt battle. 2 kills here from Clutch, and it's looking very likely that they're going to take this point unless Rafa comes out with some heroics, and he will not.
The tower is starting to fall. Liquid slowly losing their steam. Minstrel falling, followed by Dehang. The supports lasted the longest there, which is actually pretty incredible. Normally they are focused down very quickly, but Calvin being the story here. He built ult so quickly and got the kills on both of those supports to finish things off. WGB winning that Reinhardt battle. We gave him some praise earlier on tonight from this earlier matchup, and still just doing a great job protecting everybody and getting the kills.
Well, the big thing for Calvin there is that he stopped AZK. AZK was about a millisecond from going in and hitting a 4-5 skull Deadeye, which would have cracked Reinhardt's shield and done terrible, terrible damage to the backline. Thank you, Dustin Browder. But we are going in here to the next. Oh, no, not like that. We are going in to the next phase here. Liquid is going to drop right down. Transcendence is out. Graviton is out. Rafa with the first kill here on the Lucio. Louis, though, on the flanking Deadeye. They don't think they've seen him here just yet. And doesn't like what he sees here. In fact, just goes for normal shots. Did not want to waste the rest of the ult charge as Liquid is killing all of his friends.
Good kill on AZK again. Louis responsible for taking out that enemy McCree, but it is going to be actually the tanks and supports from Liquid keeping the defense alive. Clutch on the other side, Calvin launched his Dragon ultimate at kind of a weird time. Transcendence was already active. There weren't that many targets in front of him, but he let it fly and got almost nothing for it.
Alrighty, well, this is going to be both teams resetting here once more. Both teams have Sound Barrier at the ready. Liquid, though, working with more of a full deck. They do have Primal Rage and a Deadeye that they're going to be able to use it back. But Lumberjack getting Transcendence up and ready, so this is going to be an ult showdown for sure. Both teams going to throw their best at each other. And Liquid looking for the opportunity to drop down. Sound Barrier is out. Here they go. Deadeye on the way. Clutch backing out from it. AZK not going to get what he's looking for. As here comes Mezar, Primal Rage gets in the back line, does take out Lumberjack with the aid of Rafa, and they're literally pushing Clutch into a corner.
Yeah, this Winston ult is actually terrible for Clutch. They did such a great job keeping line of sight from the Deadeye, but that just allowed Winston to pop Primal Rage and just sink tons of damage into them in that confined space. Mezar racking up the kills there. He actually got play of the match earlier on against Clutch as well on one of the controlled Nepal points, so Mezar definitely showing off some great Winston abilities, which is kind of rare to say, to be honest, but ID does have the Death Blossom available. I think he had a ton of multi-kills in the series earlier on against Clutch, and this could be another opportunity. If he allows his team to get the setup for him, he may walk away here with 3 or 4 kills.
Maybe. The problem is that Lumberjack does have Transcendence, and he's with his team, so ID might drop down, but it's going to be a trade Death Blossom for Transcendence in all likelihood, unless Lumberjack gets picked.
It's all about the timing, right?
It is. Calvin right now on top 62 HP, looking for an opportunity. Louis, though, already going down the AZK, so this is going to be an advantage of Liquid to start things off. The Transcendence does come out. ID still holding on to that Death Blossom. Going to wait for the support ult to fade, but now he's going to the back line. Here comes the Q, gets the double kill. The patience paying off for ID, ends up getting 3, and Liquid will hold once more. And now with 2 minutes left here on the Streets phase, they can really start entertaining the idea of having a hold early on Hollywood, which would definitely bode well for their chances of winning the map.
Not that he necessarily needed to learn from Buds on Fnatic and the perfect Death Blossom, but ID definitely knows what he's doing on Reaper already, but that patience definitely paid off again. Like I said, ID's not going to just blow Death Blossom into Transcendence. So the Sound Barrier also coming out is actually really bad for Clutch, as they used both of those and then still actually got wiped out. So they are moving around to the side now, trying to get back to that payload. Liquid's actually letting them touch the payload fairly often. They're getting a lot of mileage here, but the ultimate does come out. Graviton Surge grabbing Louis. He tries to get a kill, but it is just an easy collapse for Liquid to wipe them out.
Absolute obliteration. Rafa setting them up. Liquid as a team knocking them down. And now with a minute 15 left, the stakes could not be higher here for Clutch. They're going to have a Graviton. Ham Sword must lead the way and set up Liquid for his team. If he does not get a good Graviton, his team is not going to have any other real big team-winning ults to go with here. So it's do or die for this Graviton, Dragon Strike, Wombo combo.
As we move forward here, is taking that same route towards the payload. They are going to be able to touch it and keep it from rolling back any further. Liquid, without any ultimates except for Mezar's engage with Winston, could be rough for them, but Minstrel does have a Sound Barrier available now. Deadeye's going to come out from AZK. The Graviton Surge grabs a couple of Liquid members. Wraithwalk out there from ID keeps him alive. Zarya getting focused down by Hamsword, but he's only got 50 HP. He needs to get out of there, and he can't. Liquid again getting the kills. 36 seconds left, ZT.
Yeah, and that what happened there is that Calvin went down early. AZK on a roll in this team fight, ends up getting 3 by the end of it. Going to do quite a bit of cleanup, and I don't know what that dragon was. Right?
Desperation.
I guess for that, it's just he was going to switch characters anyways.
Yeah.
But so here's the thing for Clutch. They might not even be able to force overtime here. There's 15 seconds left. Liquid has 2 options. They can either hold forward and stop them from attacking it, or just take advantage of their bad positioning as they must move in. They do have a Sound Barrier, though.
They only have 6 seconds. WGB's not even going to be able to charge all that distance in that time, I think.
I know, they're transcending in.
Ah, there you go.
The Zenyatta Hypercar leads the way, so they do get on the point. They are going to be able to Sound Barrier here, too, but the Sound Barrier, it does save in time. It stops ID's Death Blossom from wreaking terrible damage in the back. So, Clutch for now, still alive. Louis has the Death Blossom at the ready, but AZK, so good in the poke, takes him out, takes out another. It's 2 kills for AZK, 3 kills for Liquid as a whole. ID going to take out Calvin, and as a result, Liquid will finish cleaning this up. It was good on Clutch to at least force overtime at the very end, but it's not going to be enough, and now Liquid in a great position to seal this map and put themselves up 1-0 here in the finals.
This pile of corpses there at the end was pretty terrifying there for Colorado Clutch, and It is unfortunate they had to use Transcendence to trigger overtime. Obviously, it's a very powerful ultimate. Could have swung in another direction. That fight was kind of long and bloody. McCree was playing Ring Around the Rosie with ID's Reaper and then eventually got taken out, so that's going to shut them down. Here's that great Mezzer play following up the hiding of the Deadeye, basically. They went into hiding, and Mezzer just went in after them. Perfect. Great arrows there from Calvin. Wow, glad we got to see that one. ID's Death Blossom with the great timing again, waiting out both of those support ultimates from Clutch and just pulling it all together. Rafa, again, a solid performance on Zarya. No mistakes really on his side. Graviton Surge, they're hitting tons of Colorado Clutch members.
That was just beautiful from Rafa. I mean, coming in from that angle, landing the good Graviton, setting them up.
That was a brutal play, actually.
It was smart positioning, too, from him. And that's one thing about Rafa. And we sort of beat this drum a lot, but it's true. You even think back to his days in earlier FPS games, he was known much more for his just intellect in evaluating situations. Sure, he has pretty good aim, but that was never his defining attribute.
Yeah, and Rafa actually played Shoot Mania for SK Gaming. If you guys did not know that, he played with Clock and I believe ID. Actually, I just realized that ID and Rafa actually played Shoot Mania together, similar to AKM and Wins over on Rogue, but yeah, Rafa actually got to cast with him once, some Shoot Mania, and you're totally right. The guy's a genius when it comes to FPS games. He was able to, teach me things about the game just from a super high-level player standpoint that I had never even known. So definitely helped me out even way back then. Happy to have Rafa here, still with us in Overwatch, still trying to compete and go full-time with this.
Alrighty, well, fans of Geometry class everywhere. It does look like we will be having Hanzo leading the way. Hanzo, of course, first point attack on Hollywood. Not that unexpected from time to time, and it is a high-risk, high-reward strategy where ID is going to be looking for the first pickoffs. McCree a high... nope, he was, and then he swaps off. Sometimes we get taunted.
Yeah, we got trolled, actually, on that one. Sometimes Caster Curse just ends up in them dying, but sometimes they trick us.
I think he did throw out a quick Sonic Arrow just to take a look at the lay of the land, but it does go Reaper in the end. Unfortunate, but here we go. Reinhardt actually really far up. I'm not a fan of how far up WGB was there. That could have ended very badly if things went slightly differently, but here comes Liquid. They're going straight up the gut. They're not deciding to do too much finesse here, but they don't like what they see, and they back right out.
Yeah, they're getting quite low. That Fire Strike actually went through 3 or 4 members of Liquid, so WGB with the snipe heart action. Actually, Zarya Bubble keeping him alive through the flashbang. Earthshatter comes out so fast in this match, and Louis and Hamsword both scoop up the kills. Louis with the triple there in that kill feed, while Hamsword just zapping him down with Zarya. Liquid gets shut down cold in the first minute of this attack.
And let me just note that that's a real penalty about getting hit by a Fire Strike. It's not so much that you're taking damage. I mean, certainly taking 100 damage is not pleasant, but usually you're able to get healed up. The problem is that it builds up an Earth Shatter that can just absolutely ruin you, and that was really quickly built. But here we go. Next fight is underway. Both teams fighting it out right now. Reinhardt's trading off Poke. Reinhardt's shield's going to go down, and Liquid actually being a little bit tentative about how they deal with this. Note that Messar does have Earth Shatter on the way. And we'll see
They're split up right now. Who's that around the back? I didn't see who
They're flanking around the back, but here they go. Earthshatter is down, knocks down 3. Will Liquid follow it through? AZK already has 1. Looking for a little more. Louis, though, with the Sound Bearer, moving right in. Going to be stymied, though, by the Transcendence. So support ult's playing a big role in this fight as a Graviton comes down, picks up 3, and Liquid will get the cleanup.
If you notice, Graviton Surge actually grabbed Reaper against the wall. He was probably pretty unsure what was happening at that point, but yeah, it is going to be a Liquid wipe up there. Rafa with another great Graviton Surge, just like we saw in those highlights. Great stuff there from Liquid. 2 minutes burned off the clock, so Clutch definitely, still has an opportunity to shut things down as point A is going to be captured. They're actually going to contest it. WGB.
Oh, I don't know about this.
Just running in there. They must think they have a chance. I don't know. Ultimates are not really there. Hamsword's Graviton Surge is, though, and it is going to grab a couple of Liquid members, but it's not enough. They use the ultimates, and to no avail. A is still going to get captured here.
If there was a camera on me right now, they would see that I have a hands on my face right now, because the problem with this from Clutch is that it was so low percentage that they would actually take that back. And look at the ult resources they spent on that. They had a lot they could use in Streets defense, and now with 4:20 remaining on the clock, Liquid does not have to bring this all that far. And in fact, Liquid now has a big ult advantage going to the next fight. I mean, it would have been great for Clutch if it worked out and came closer than expected.
They thought the Graviton Surge would have gotten more value, but with all those characters that Liquid's using with Zarya Bubbles and Wraithwalks and all that, they really didn't get much out of it, of course, and it is going to backfire a bit. A gets captured, and there's only 4 minutes left, though. If they can defend here in the streets for a while, things are going okay here at the beginning of the defense. They just need to choose their moment to jump down.
They are going to look for the moment to jump down. They don't have any ults to really go with it. WGB might get an Earthshatter later in this fight, but here comes Liquid. Their ults are up. Soundbearer is on the way. ID pressing Q, spinning into the action, picks up 2 kills with the aid of AZK, and Liquid certainly winning this fight. And now I'm not even sure Clutch is going to be able to get back in time to contest this, as they are rolling to the yellow box of victory.
Yeah, all that point A trickle defense managed to do is bleed 30 seconds off the clock. Still definitely not going to be enough, and the advantages that you mentioned earlier totally going in Liquid's favor. This is their last chance to contest. They really cannot lose this team fight. AZK has Deadeye above. Calvin's already down.
AZK is coming in for that flanking Deadeye. It is high noon in all senses of the word. Coming from behind, picks up the double, looking for the triple, laying the damage in to that Reinhardt, and that is going to be it. Liquid now 1 map away from securing their berth to Atlanta.
Wow, and man, that point A attack, it's just so unique and so unusual to see them do that instead of just setting up, saving Graviton Surge for a wipe. I mean, they had the run distance actually was changed so dramatically even by doing that, that they got spawned so far back as the point was captured. It was really a really questionable, risky play for them.
In general, I'm just going to say this when it comes to Overwatch. There's something that we've been saying on cast for a very long time, months, and soon it'll be years. If there's one thing you don't want to do in Overwatch, do not throw good money after bad. And what that means is that if you have a bunch of ultimates up, secure on the next point. You don't have to go for the last-ditch defense, because the chances of that working for Clutch was very low, and they expended some very vital ultimates there that could have given them the ability to defend on streets much longer and maybe have held it out. But they went after a losing battle. It didn't work out, and I'm not going to say they threw it away because they're in a bad position to begin with, but I don't think it was their optimal play for actually getting back in the game.
Yeah, I think all it really came down to probably on comms, they were like, are you going to respawn in time? All right, let's go for it. Graviton Surge might work out. Obviously, the defensive abilities from Team Liquid were enough to stymie that, but Liquid, great job. I mean, very, very few flaws across the board here. WGB did a great job as Reinhardt trying to stop them, but not enough with AZK and ID playing the way they are, and Rafa especially with the great ultimates.
Yeah, the tank player was actually a standout for both teams. WGB, as you noted, on their defense, he actually got incredibly quick Earth Shatter up, and you only get that by landing some truly epic fire strikes that build it up just that quickly, because getting it first fight, very hard to do. Rafa, though, the jump down Graviton, and just as Gravitons in general, very much on point. And one thing I want to note as well is that it's easy to focus on Zarya doing damage, Zarya doing Gravitons, but overall, Rafa was doing a great job with the shields, keeping friendly tanks alive, stopping people from diving in on the back line. So what Rafa was doing on the support end of Zarya, which is hard to notice, was also really good. Again, I think it's a good fit for him. It's damage and smarts in one character.
Totally, yeah, and it allows him to do multiple things. And bubbling flashbangs was actually something we saw at least twice there, making sure that Reinhardt didn't get stunned over his shield or anything like that. So great awareness there from Rafa. We are going to go to a control map. Obviously, Ilios and Lijiang were the choices. It's going to be Lijiang Tower as the choice for Colorado Clutch for Game 2.
So for Colorado Clutch, clearly what they're going to have to do, they will have to deal with AZK. AZK, pretty good on hit scan characters. He has his ups and downs, but certainly I think he has more room to breathe and more room to do great plays on maps like Lijiang. So they're going to have to shut him down, if nothing else. And then they're also going to have to try and win the tank v tank battles, because we've looked at teams like Fnatic and know, oh wow, Cool Mac goes in, gets a billion kills on Zarya. Well, Rafa right now proving to have similar prowess, so it's going to be a little bit difficult for them to deal with. But for Clutch, they must succeed, because if they do not, they will not be going to Atlanta.
That's right. This is do or die. They cannot afford to lose any more maps if they want to get a piece of that $300,000 pie at the end of the month at the main grand event, as Rachel gave it a few different names throughout the cast earlier today. But we are about to open up here on the garden phase of Lijiang. This is the only area with any grass, so I guess it's a garden. Why not?
Hey, look, it says it's garden when you load the map, therefore it is garden. We have some trees around here.
Yeah.
That qualifies.
Yeah, there's some rocks. Gardens have rocks.
Alrighty, well, both teams getting into it here to start things out right away. AZK opening up here with the poke. You look at the poke war between both teams. WGB almost going down right away. Liquid certainly winning that war, and WGB is not able to get away. AZK coming on the flank. Does it a little bit. Calvin able to punish him. 5v5. And Clutch might actually be able to turn this back in their favor just because AZK got a little bit over aggro there.
Looks like Liquid is going to be dogpiling onto the point without really needing to secure any kills. Clutch was a little bit scared fighting 5v6 or even 5v5 at that point, but now everyone's back in tow. They're going to leap in as well as speed boost. Calvin flashing and fanning, not really getting much off of that great defensive play from Liquid, but Rafa getting a couple of kills. That's actually swinging it heavily in Liquid's favor.
The Rafa Hamsword matchup is definitely something to watch throughout the course of this. Watch which Zarya is getting more done. Rafa right now actually eating all sorts of damage from Calvin. Calvin was not answered at all there. Rafa, though, able to get out of the way, gets LOS, is healed up, and he already has the Graviton up. Soundbearer down for Liquid, and Liquid going to push Clutch right out of this fight. Really good position coming up from Liquid towards the end there.
Yeah, AZK actually used a Deadeye to secure that kill on WGB too. Wasn't expecting that, but definitely worked out for them. It's going to force Clutch all the way back to spawn. The people who did survive to wait for their healers and tanks. WGB, I was going to say, might not want to stay on the Reinhardt. It's actually not been too effective so far. Winston and D.Va do have a lot more to offer here on this point, in my opinion, so I'm glad to see him switching it up, especially to deal with AZK and ID's Reaper there.
Did Rafa get it? Did he get the Graviton that sends people into the pit? Did he do it?
No, it was not far enough out. They were on the ledge.
So you can place a Graviton here that actually will drop people into the pit if you place it right. Rafa was going for it, didn't quite get it, but it was enough to keep people out of range for a while.
Ooh.
2 kills here for the side of Liquid. Graviton, though, does come in from Clutch, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough to really turn this in their favor.
It's a very even fight. Calvin only 27 health, though. Yeah, getting zapped down by Rafa. All he had to do is swing wildly with that laser to make sure he was going down, but Calvin tried some last-second heroics off of the Graviton surge, could not quite clean up, and it's going to be Liquid at 80% now against Clutch. They have basically one more opportunity to try and dislodge them from the point.
All right, and for Clutch, for their final opportunity that's coming up, what could be the final fight here of this round, they do have Death Blossom, they have Transcendence, they're going to speed boost us right in, feeling the Zen, feeling the death perhaps, as Louis does not have an opportunity. 2 people go down right away to AZK's Deadeye, something that Transcendence does not help against, and Louis not even having a chance to spin, just gets taken out. And this is going to be Liquid finishing up this fight off of that final Graviton by Rafa.
Interesting. This match is looking to play out a bit differently than our earlier match tonight, where it did go the distance. Actually, it was one of the closest matches possible. Even Anubis actually nearly resulting in a tie, but Liquid had a 2-minute attack on Anubis for both points. If they hadn't done that, who knows what would have even happened. But this is a completely different story. Liquid did such a great job on Hollywood, definitely cleaning up their mistakes. Very, very few things to call out as potential wonky attacks or ults or anything. Everyone's on top of their game here on Liquid. They do not want to miss their chance.
Well, we do have an interesting contrast here. It'll be AZK, the McCree, versus Louis on the Tracer here. And we'll see how this works out. Of course, a lot of teams do favor running Tracer on these sorts of maps in general, and it'll be Tracer McCree, in fact. You don't always see them paired together, but Clutch going with that heavy hit scan combination, and we'll see if it works out here against Liquid. AZK, a lot on his shoulders. If he dies early, there's not going to be a whole lot on Liquid to actually check Louis from wreaking all sorts of havoc.
We'll just have to see how it goes. Of course, one headshot from Reaper can actually blast the Tracer into oblivion, rounding the corner at the right time. So ID also looking to try and peel for his supports, get that Tracer away from any important targets. But AZK, as you mentioned, super long range, accurate shots here coming out, actually hitting a few of those on that very hard to hit Lucio. Flash goes down, WGB is going to eat the dirt as a result.
The interesting thing here is that you don't usually see Reinhardt too much on this stage at King of the Hill. I mean, he's not the most common pick anyways, and he's going to have some issues here where McCree will be working to sort of neutralize him. Louis, though, does take out AZK. Louis' biggest threat has been neutralized. He's going to be able to run around here. Doesn't have to worry too much about ID so long as he keeps his distance, and in fact, Clutch getting the kills they need to. Louis just playing around, and Clutch might be taking this right back.
They may not even want to kill everybody, actually. That was a potential chance to keep Mezzer alive just a little bit, just bouncing around in between these targets and just kind of shoot him from range, but they are going to go ahead and finish him off, allow Liquid to reset, and it is going to be Clutch grabbing a point for the first time this map. Already 19% for Liquid, but Clutch is easily going to be able to match that. They do have many ultimates available for a possible defense here.
Soundbearer, of course, being the most important of them here. They're going to open with the Deadeye, but Hots for shots. Going to be able to drop the beat here at a moment's notice. This is not really a great fight for Liquid. And we'll see how they do, but they go in with the Transcend, so they're throwing their ultimates on the table nonetheless. They don't just want to trade out. AZK moving to the backline, Deadeye on the way. Skull's popping up, Skull's going down, Hamsword has been killed, and ID starting to fight it back in the backline. Relatively even between both teams, and Liquid, despite not having a sound barrier, able to use Transcendence just enough to give AZK excellent positioning as he picks up the triple. Well done by AZK.
Great left clicks, followed by the flash and left click combo there on Louis to just finish things off. Things were looking kind of interesting. There were 2 deaths on either side to get that started. A couple of very important supportive characters, Minstrel and Rafa, actually going down at the beginning of that, but everything came up AZK. ID's Death Blossom actually getting huge value there. 36% for Liquid. Off of the back of that, they should be able to get to 50-55, no problem.
There is sort of a saying here in Overwatch, which is check your corners. Check your corners. Well, they did not check the corners there for ID. ID just leisurely pressed Q and deleted 3 people from the map. So some problems there. Liquid does have one ult here. It's Rafa. Rafa holding on to that Graviton, does drop it, pulls in 3, and Liquid just gonna feast right on top of it, picking up 4 kills. And Liquid now about 2 fights away from taking this round, and that's going to put them oh so much closer to winning it all.
Clutch is going to have to be in super comeback mode at this point. They are falling behind rapidly here on this second point, and they will have to win essentially everything from this point on if they do manage to let it slip. Hamsword does have Graviton Surge available. This is going to be one of the most important ones of this entire match. Definitely don't want to waste it, and definitely don't want to die before being able to use it. AZK actually getting up in his face, knocks Hamsword off the ledge.
Boopity boop boop, says Minstrel, sends Hamsword on a ride. And now with 89% left, I'm not even sure Clutch is going to be able to force overtime here. When you look at Lumberjack, if he hits one orb, he might be able to race car onto the point with Zenyatta. We'll have to see. Clutch is rushing onto it. AZK, though, saying no way, takes out Calvin immediately. The Graviton does come in from Clutch as the bomb! The pulse bomb explodes for 3! Louis saying this is not over yet, and Colorado Clutch at the 11th hour is going to stay alive here on Legion.
Last second heroics on the side of Colorado Clutch. There were a few, they got stopped up pretty hard there. I thought Reinhardt might have been able to get in there. He got stunned. Zenyatta actually got a bit tripped up even during his Transcendence, but Louis with the pulse bomb opens the door wide open. They're able to reclaim the point. They have to hang on for the rest of the time, and they're not even inside the point. They're actually just sitting out here. They have to be on the point to contest. But why?
Well, Deadeye right now is coming out for Calvin. He did potentially have an option there. Did not get what he was looking for. WGB on the Rafa. It's still 65 for Clutch, but ID into the back takes out 3. The Death Blossom connects, and Liquid bringing this right back. AZK zoning out Reinhardt. Reinhardt going in for the last-ditch charge. Just gets shot in the head. And this is going to be Liquid retaking the point, taking the round. And Joshi, they are but 1 round away from securing their ticket to Atlanta. If Clutch does not want to be knocked out, the reverse sweep must begin now.
Oh me, oh my. Clutch have quite a task in front of them. They actually stuck it to Liquid pretty well that first time around. I thought the momentum from playing against them such a good series and then just bashing on mono to keep them warm, I thought it was going to be a similar story, at least much closer fight, but Liquid is definitely showing their prowess here on the control map. AZK, ID, both getting multiple kills. Big Gravitons are just great headshots across the board from AZK. Liquid totally on point right now. Again, they are reducing their mistakes to the point where they are almost assuredly going to be able to knock Clutch out of this tournament and move to Atlanta.
Alrighty, well, Liquid not running a Tracer in the last game. No fear for them. They didn't seem to lose a step as a result. Louis still going to be on that Tracer, and we'll see how things work out here in the Control Center. Clutch must win this round, and they must avenge themselves on the stages that they lost. Otherwise, they are going to be going home, so let's see if they can do it here. Both teams right now just trading out some poke.
As we get started, Louis is focusing on Rafa very early on. Of course, that range for Tracer barely does any damage, so mostly just providing a kind of a distraction while everyone else gets sit up. Rafa again getting the opening kill, AZK with a quick follow-up, but we do have kills going both directions. It looks like Liquid is going to be able to claim the point first.
Liquid with a quick first strike. AZK leading the way with, again, some top-tier poke. Was able to take out the Lucio pretty early in the fight. Piled on right after that, and in fact is going to have a Deadeye up in just a moment as a sort of token of how much damage he did do in that last fight.
Yeah, always evident there in the ultimate meters, and this is going to be a top-down Deadeye, very likely to get a lot of skulls. Will Winston see it in time? He's basically the only one who's going to be able to respond to this. Louis on the low ground with the pulse bomb. Is the Deadeye actually coming out? AZK has triggered it.
It is high noon, says AZK, and more than one turn, but does not really get what he's looking for. Does zone out people, though, creating some room for the rest of Liquid. They will pick up 4 kills to hang, getting the cleanup, and AZK just going to move a little bit forward with this poke, as Liquid will hold on to this point.
I can't get the Deadeye? I'll just left-click him, I guess. I'll do just as much damage over time. But yeah, Liquid hanging on, almost no issues again for them here on this point. D.Va is actually in play this time. Around for WGB, has swapped off the Reinhardt, his favorite, but she is going to actually have a potential to swallow the Graviton ult, but instead, that's going to be Liquid coming out on top once again. ID and AZK ready to pounce on that and scoop the kills quite easily.
AZK picking up 2. He is not done yet. Joining the rest of his team and pushing them back, and now for Clutch, they have about 2 pushes left in them. but they have 2 support ults up. If they use the support ults on the next push and they get nothing, they're basically done. So really the next fight is going to be the true decider of the game. Hamsword must get a good graviton to set up his supports, but ID to the back line has already deleted Lucio from the game. There will be no sound barrier, but hey, it's Clutch still fighting back. Who needs a sound barrier? They got 4 kills! Liquid overextending, and Clutch is going to stay alive, at least for now. They should be able to cap this back in their favor, but Joshi, if they lose one more fight after this, that will be it.
Well,
their tournament life will be over. They cannot retreat now for any reason.
I do hope that they're able to hang on to that point a little bit longer than they did in that previous round. Backing out off of the point actually proved to be their downfall. They are at only 10% right now. They have a few ults available. Louis' Pulse Bomb, not going to be able to combo with Graviton Surge, but the beat drop comes out on both sides now for an extended fight. Pulse Bomb actually catches AZK. That's a great pickup. WGB and Lumberjack falling, and oh, the supports are all down for Clutch.
The ult showdown is real between the 2 teams, and Liquid is coming out on top. ID with 2 kills just a moment ago. Louis in the back, trying to go for some heroics. His team is dying all around him. It is Louis versus the world. If he falls, so does Clutch. He must somehow stay alive. And Lucio is going to rejoin him here in a moment, but Liquid pushing it back. They've recapped the point. 98%, 99%. Liquid is so close, they can taste it. Atlanta is calling them, and if they get one more kill, this is going to be it.
Graviton.
Overtime is going away, and Liquid is going to go on.
AZK got instant karma against Tracer. You're going to pulse bomb me? I don't think so. I'm just going to wait for you and just drill you with Tracer. AZK swapped and made it back to the point just in time to shut down Louis. That Graviton Surge sealed the deal, and we're going to get a minstrel play of the game. Maybe the Zarya boop off the ledge?
I think it must be.
It must be, yeah.
The way the play of the game algorithm works is that it does really highly value boop offs, and now
and
there
Tracer
they
died
go.
mid-boop there. Tracer died in the air before even being able to plummet down. Great stuff there from basically everyone on Liquid. Very, very solid performance throughout. Again, very few weak points to call out at all. Clutch made a couple of interesting choices, I would say, both on Hollywood and Lijiang Tower that may have led to their defeat. But to go through the game extensively, we're welcoming back James and Daniel, DDK, back to the desk.
Hello. Well, a very strong performance there by Liquid. Obviously, they struggled against this team earlier on, but it seems that either they fixed whatever they had or they saw the strengths and managed to capitalize on them. Dan, what did you see there?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, the King of the Hill looked somewhat as consistent as we saw previously. I mean, a lot of the individual skill really flared up, and we can get into that in a bit. Of course, first we had Hollywood, and the interesting thing for me on Hollywood was we saw more of what we should, in theory, expect from Liquid, which was good and calm ultimate management, as well as good coordination when it came into understanding how to collapse and dive on your opposition. And this is something that was actually the struggle for their opposition in Clutch. And I mean, for example, that Streets phase is where it really started to fall apart from them. And it wasn't just the individual players of Liquid. I mean, we saw the Primal Rage from Meza take out multiple players there on Dorado, on Hollywood there in just a side alley, as Liquid were able to very easily work out exactly the kinds of routes and attacks that Clutch were going to set up well in advance. And it always seemed to be that story that Liquid were a step ahead in reading the movements and always a bit better at getting more value on their ultimates, as well as not overusing them. And this tended to be the trend all throughout Hollywood. I don't know if you guys agree, but that for me was one of the winning points there for Liquid, absolutely.
Oh, I definitely agree. And I think another point for Liquid, just in terms of a more player story, was, man, Rafa had an incredible series. I think my favorite play in the entire series was on Hollywood, where he jumped in from the bridge, went super deep in, cut 4 people on Graviton, and set his team up. But he had plays like that all throughout the series. And for those who have watched Rafa, it has been a progression for him. He was not always this good at Overwatch, but it's clear to me that he's been spending much more time on it as of late.
Joshua, what about that Winston beatdown?
The Winston beatdown in the confined space. I was giving credit to Clutch. They did such a good job avoiding that Deadeye from AZK, and AZK's like, hey, they're all in that hallway. Why don't you just go in Primal Rage, smack him around a bit? And he went in zapping and slapping, ended up with 3 or 4 kills. So Mezer definitely showed us how to play some excellent Winston throughout the day.
ZP, I think you're talking about the patience of ID up on top with Reaper, just waiting for his moment. You want to talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, we saw really good Reaper play coming out earlier in the day from Buds, and ID certainly no slouch. There's a moment where, again, Reapers can feel out support ultimates that are coming out. You can teams have a sense where they do sort of look for okay, they probably have Transcendence, they have Sound Barrier. ID knew that, waited for those ultimates to be used, waited for the right opportunity, and then went in behind the Reinhardt, hit Q, and got the kills he was looking for, and that's how you stop a team dead in its tracks.
All right, I believe we have an interview with Rafa. Rafa, are you there?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
I can,
We can.
indeed, and so can the desk. Joshua, you're my designated main interviewer. Would you like to start the questions?
Oh, well, hello again, Mr. Shane. Rafa, how you doing? How you feeling?
Hey, you doing? Doing all right, man. I mean, obviously, it feels really good to qualify for this event, be able to go to Atlanta so soon after joining the team. So, yeah.
Yeah, I saw.
great.
Was that an official announcement just today that you joined Liquid?
Yeah, that's true.
Excellent. Yeah, so great debut here with the team. And I know we talked a bit at Agents Rising about you wanting to really go full-time and go hard into competitive Overwatch. I'm really glad that you're here with us. Obviously, your pedigree lends a lot towards not just shooting well, obviously. You did a great job on Zarya, but your awareness and knowledge of FPS just in general has to be a great boon to the team. So I'm sure Liquid's happy to have you as well. What do you think about the fact that your first match with Clutch was just so very close? What actually changed over the course of the next couple of matches where you guys on Liquid were able to just put the, hammer down on Clutch for that last series?
I think it's just, even though the match was really close for that one, and then, when we played Fnatic and we lost 2-0, we just kind of looked at, what are the few little things that we can fix that are within our control for the next match that we need. And I think a lot of it just came down to, just simple communication and keeping track of ultimates from the other team. So we just really focused on, what's the best thing that we can, perform at the time and just play in the moment and, yeah, just give ourselves the best chance to win. And we just played really, really aggressive with our decision making, and it really worked out.
Got to agree.
So one question I wanted to ask you, Rafa, directly is that this isn't your first rodeo in Overwatch. You have played on other teams in the past. You did play on teams with a whole bunch of other Quake players. Now, we talk about this a lot where a lot of the Quake teams early on in Overwatch did not have success, but it seems like you mix Quake players with other players of more varied backgrounds, and it works out better. Is there any insight you can give into that? Both why the sort of all Quake teams didn't work and why you on Team Liquid now is seemingly working out much, much better.
I think I said this in another interview at some point where I think that if you have 2 or 3 Quake players on a team, it can really work out just based off of, the fundamentals that in Quake and the skill that you can bring. But I think that having a diverse group of players from, let's say, TF2 or Counter-Strike or WoW, just players that have played other games, because this is not just a regular FPS. This is, a culmination of everything. It's a big hodgepodge. And I think you really need those outside and different perspectives to truly understand how to play the roles, because it is such a team game, and every single role is so unique and dynamic, but you all need to understand it for yourself and from the team point. And that's why I think having some diversity is a really good thing. And yeah, that's that.
I would ask actually, what's the hardest thing to, as far as the transition as a Quake player to Overwatch? And some things that surprise you about it as well, the things that you picked up.
I think the hardest thing to transition is just people understanding when to die properly, where to die properly. Because from a Quake player's perspective, you're almost always trying to survive as long as you can. Whereas in this game, sometimes you need to understand when a fight is lost, or your entire engagement needs to be, let's say, like, a junk rush of some sort. So what you're doing is you're baiting the enemy team into trying to use ults, but you know that you're going to die, so that eventually on the next push you can either hold them, successfully, or be able to attack and take over the point or push the cart. So, and you guys have pointed out so many times, when you die and you're straggling, it just puts your team at such a detriment, and you lose so much time. You allow the other team to decide, who to kill the last 2 guys with and build that guy's ultimate. It's just really about all being on the same page.
All right, well, thank you very much, Rafa, and congratulations for qualifying to Atlanta, and best of luck once you get there.
Thanks. Looking forward to see you guys there.
Thank you. So we have the incredible play of the game brought to you by Republic of Gamers. Let's have a look and see what is in store for us on this occasion. Any guesses?
We had multi-kills across the board. So many great ultimates across this. ID's Sneaky Reaper. We had the Pulse Bomb from Louis at the very end.
The Rafa setup on Hollywood where
Yep.
he comes in over the top. That's my pick. And it would be fitting since we just interviewed Rafa, and that
there
is
it is.
exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah, just watching this whole thing play out was really wonderful. You saw the entire team there. You can see his teammates actually up on the high ground with him. I think they dropped down first. No, it's actually Rafa with the engage, and then everyone descends on them. The Winston bubble actually preventing any damage from coming out. Great coordination there, and Rafa himself getting that great zap down on WGB. Everything executed perfectly.
Very nice stuff indeed. Solid play by Rafa, and it was nice to get a peek into the mine there again. Someone that Dan's interviewed before at previous QuakeCons and so on, but the approach and the comparison to Overwatch is very interesting indeed. Now we're going to take a look at the brackets just to get a recap from A to D and see how things are. So in Group A, we see Envy and Splice have qualified for Atlanta, those shiny ELEAGUE studios. In Group B, Cloud9 and Sodipop have done the same. Moving on to Group C, we see Fnatic and Team Liquid will be joining, and tomorrow we will find out who qualifies from Group D between Complexity, Rise Nation, NRG, and Method. So again, if you want to get involved socially on Twitter, it is hashtag OWOpen, and OverwatchOpen is the Twitter account if you're after any information how to people are qualifying for the tournament and what the current status is. OverwatchOpen.com is your place to be. Any final thoughts from the desk before we disappear for the evening?
CP?
I think for me on this, just a lot of good games. And I will say this, parting thoughts to Clutch, they really entertained us here today. They almost took out Team Liquid earlier in the day. And for them, I think it's unfortunate that they aren't going to Atlanta, and yet they have a lot to be proud of here today for how strong they came out. And I think it can only go up from here for them. So we'll see how things go. But if you're a Colorado Clutch fan, not the worst day.
Yeah, Colorado Clutch had a better showing than I expected in that middle match, maybe closer to what we expected in that second match against Liquid, but definitely should not feel bad about the performance at all. They are still that top 16 North American team, probably top 10, I would say at this point, just based on some of the other performances that we've seen kind of across the board in the other groups. But we had just a great day of casting all day long. Europe was amazing. North America was a lot of fun here with that Clutch possibility of the upset. So I'm just happy to be here casting some terrific games all day long with you guys.
Thumbs up to internet cafes in North America. If I'm ever in Colorado, I'm definitely going to look that up. That's going to bring our show to a close for today. So it's goodbye from the desk, and we will see you tomorrow for more European and North American action here at the Overwatch Open.